Hello and welcome to another edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on today's show, Audi's showing off a brand new automobile that's got somewhat of a weird name, at least in my mind it does. It sounds a little bit more like a sponsorship package on a race car, because this is the brand new Performance Parts R8 edition, which again sounds a little strange to me. That being said, this thing really straddles that blurred line between a road car and a track day monster. This thing's got a lot of old-fashioned aero work. None of that active aero or stuff that flaps that come up to help it in cornering. Just good old-fashioned carbon fiber reinforced plastic front splitter, rear spoiler, side sills, along with even the front canards up front to really help in the downforce. In fact, this thing makes actually around double the downforce that the traditional V10 Sport actually puts out. Now, this vehicle is a rare bird, too. They're only going to build a handful of these things. And, of course, the 5.2-liter, normally aspirated V10 makes its appearance, makes 602 brake horsepower. Now, this thing isn't just a track day monster with ultra lightweight wheels. It's gone on the Atkins. It's lost a fair amount of weight. It's going to be a fair amount of comfort as well, as it's full of Napa leather. It's got navigation, everything that you really want to do if you want to drive this thing long distance. Even though this vehicle is a tad bit too stiffly sprung probably to actually pull that particular deal off. Again, this thing's going to be rare. Only 44 of these vehicles are going to be built for the world. And the trick is, it's not for the world. It's actually only for the European market, with a starting price of £176,560. And that's what this vehicle will have the starting price of. So it's going to be interesting to see if maybe Audi spreads its wings and starts sending these to other parts of the world, maybe building more than 44 of these vehicles. They have yet to make that announcement. They've only talking about the European market alone. Also, they haven't released performance numbers on this vehicle as of yet as well. So hopefully we'll get a whole lot more about this information, and hopefully we'll get some actual idea of when this vehicle will be going into production and possibly getting into new owners' hands. We'll definitely keep you in tune. Now, a little bit of sad news, because the old Swedish factory for the folks over at Koenigsegg pushed out the final two Agera RSs ever to be built in that particular facility. I have to say that, in a little side note, the Koenigsegg Agera R, I think, is one of the most fantastically gorgeous supercars on the planet, and is my personal favorite. I'm especially a big fan of Christian von Koenigsegg. I think he really runs that company quite well and does a fantastic job with these machines. Now, back to the real, brand new, last edition. They call them the final edition of the Agera Rs. They've actually got official names. One is known as Thor, one's known as Vader. And they are bespoke to themselves. They do come with special treatments, even though Koenigsegg, free of charge, ticked all the option boxes for these two machines. Of course, that 5-liter supercharged V8 does make its return, making 1,360 brake horsepower and 1,011 pounds-feet of torque. These vehicles got the 1-to-1 aero package. Everything's on these particular machines. No word on exactly what these two are going to cost, nor is there any word on whether they're really officially for sale, because I'm assuming that Christian von Koenigsegg is actually going to keep one of these machines for himself. Now, the trick is, it's not super sad day for the Koenigsegg folks, because they are rapidly working on the brand new machine that they claim are going to be even more bonkers than the Agera ever was. More bonkers than even that Agera even was. So, cannot wait for the Geneva Motor Show next year as we get a real shot at the new Koenigsegg. Possibly get a little bit of a peek of it maybe around the turn of the year as well. So, we'll definitely keep you in tune if we hear any more about them. And last up on the list, the folks over the Detroit News are actually letting out some information that the possibility, well, actually not even the possibility, the fact is the paperwork is already in, and possibly the ink is drying on the official proclamation that the Detroit Motor Show will be moving, not out of Detroit, just moving to June in 2020. I have to say, this is not a bad deal, even though auto shows are kind of becoming a dinosaur type situation. All you read anymore is all the manufacturers that are slipping out of almost every auto show on the planet, from the Detroit Auto Show, New York Auto Show, LA Auto Show, even the Paris Motor Show, the Tokyo Motor Show. A lot of manufacturers just, you know what, it's way too expensive to put together this massive display that possibly will only be around for 1 or 2 years, and then has to be stored for a long period of time, especially if you're planning on using it again. It's fantastically expensive. It's so much cheaper for these folks to actually fly in a ton of journalists, show off their goods, and then actually get to pick a time when they want it released. So it's released out into the ether without having a whole bunch of other clutter around it. And I can remember when I first started motor cars, I remember that first big auto show. Holy crap, was I way overwhelmed with how much stuff actually debuted there. Now you get an auto show and pretty much everything's been teased before the auto show even starts. So really, these auto shows are kind of a thing of the past, even though they will continue to exist. People still love them. Journalists still love them. And you know what the trick is? This June deal is really going to help as far as the weather is concerned. Motorcars HQ is a tad bit south, but you know what? We get a lot of winter weather here at Motorcars HQ. And you know what? A trip to Detroit in January is not a welcoming proposition. But I tell you what, in June, almost a treat and almost easy to head up there. A little bit cooler weather, and not to mention a perfect time to be traveling. Maybe just a little bit of summer storms to be fought heading up to the Detroit Auto Show. So possibly, if motor cars actually still exist in 2020, maybe heading on up to the old Detroit Motor Show. So I hope that this deal does get done. We'll definitely keep you in tune if this thing actually takes place. And hopefully this thing is going to flip. There is also some rumors that they're going to make a name change. No longer will it be known as the North American International Auto Show, but we'll have to wait and see on that front as well. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiast. Don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. Links down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time. Get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.